Hey guys, tonight we're doing something a little different. We're not time traveling to battlefields or palaces. No, tonight you're lying down under a velvet Egyptian sky, somewhere around 1250 BCE, where the nights are dry, the stars are relentless, and sleep is a kind of sacred ritual. You're not in some luxury suite with blackout curtains. You're outdoors in a sun-baked courtyard, on a mat of woven reeds, with linen sheets that feel like they've been blessed by the gods or, more realistically, boiled in river water, and beaten soft by the hands of someone with excellent upper body strength. The night air smells faintly of dust and palm sap. Somewhere in the distance, a donkey makes a sound like a haunted trumpet. There's no mosquito net cerebid on the bright side. There's also no blue light from your phone because, well, it's 3,000 years too early. And here's a fun thought. Even in this ancient age, people worried about how to get better sleep, though their solutions were ... creative. And no, you definitely wouldn't survive this unless you had a high tolerance for crocodile fat and headrests made of wood. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you're listening from and your time zone. I love seeing how far this little storytelling circle reaches. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You lie on your side, the air thick with the scent of last afternoon's heat. It rises from the packed clay beneath your mat, radiating upward as though the earth itself is exhaling. The stars above aren't shy tonight. They stretch clear across the sky in a way modern cities have completely forgotten. An ancient glitter that seems to hum. You're in a modest courtyard in the home of a craftsman or sculptor, perhaps known for carving gods out of limestone. His family is asleep around you, some curled on mats, some already snoring softly. The inner rooms are too hot to use in summer, so everyone sleeps under the open sky, surrounded by adobe walls and lazy breezes. You shift slightly on the reed mat, feeling the woven texture press into your shoulder blade. It's not a plush mattress, there's no memory foam or orthopedic curve, but it's not bad. Egyptians prized cleanliness and lightness in bedding. Linen, always linen. They'd go through elaborate steps to bleach and beat the fibers into a softness that's surprisingly gentle, even by modern standards. If you're lucky, your sheets were washed with natron, a type of soda ash that also happened to be used for mummification. You try not to think about that as you inhale the crisp, papery scent. A faint rustle nearby, someone's turning in their sleep. You open your eyes just a little. The courtyard is calm, washed in moonlight. A fig tree leans over the wall, casting long, crooked shadows. In one corner, a cat sacred in this land stretches luxuriously and yawns. Cats in ancient Egypt were more than pets. They were protectors, almost divine. If you're sleeping peacefully tonight, you might owe it to that feline guardian. Night isn't silent. Crickets chirp in a persistent rhythm, and from beyond the city walls, a jackal lets out a mournful cry. You imagine the landscape, the Nile flowing silently, wide and smooth like black silk. Beyond that, desert, and further still, the tombs of kings sleeping forever under carved stone, protected by curses and golden sarcophagi. Your thoughts drift like the river itself to daily life. Sleep in Egypt wasn't just functional, it was spiritual. The gods watched over your dreams, and temples held ceremonies to ensure harmony during the night. You wonder how it felt to drift into dreams knowing the stars were ancient even then, and the stories older than memory. Suddenly, a warm gust brushes across your face. The Sirocco winds, dry, gritty, like a giant exhaling across the desert. It kicks up little swirls of dust along the courtyard edges. You pull the linen sheet up just a little. In summer, most people slept nearly naked. Not for comfort, but practicality. Loose linen, nothing more. The wealthier you were, the more linen you had. Some even scented their sheets with perfumes, lotus oil or myrrh. You're rocking the middle-class version. One sheet, slightly crispy, but clean. Just when you think you're drifting off, a bug lands on your arm. You slap at it instinctively. Mosquitoes, still a menace in every era. The ancients had some defenses. Smoke pots, citronella-like herbs, even sleeping under thin gauze. But mostly, you just dealt with it. Consider this your entry exam into the harsh world of ancient rest. You lie back and stare at the stars again. One of them seems to shimmer more brightly. Sirius, maybe. The dog star. Egyptians tracked its rising to predict the Nile flood, a life-giving event so precise that their entire calendar revolved around it. You can almost imagine a priest, somewhere nearby, gazing up at the same sky, whispering calculations under his breath while fighting off sleep. Some of them must have been insomniacs too, right? The heat finally seems to release you. Your breath slows. Your body grows heavy. Somewhere deep in the house, someone coughs. The clay walls echo faintly, but the sound is oddly comforting, like someone saying, "You're not alone. You're part of a rhythm here." A quiet, ancient one. People slept simply, in tune with the stars and seasons. Historians still debate whether the Egyptians truly had better sleep than we do today, or if we're just romanticizing it. But as your eyes close again, and the desert night cradles you, with its warm breath and occasional cat yowl, you start to understand. It's not about the mattress. It's the ritual, the rhythm, the surrender. You begin to dream, and just like that, the night in ancient Egypt begins to unfold around you, one soft breath at a time. The sun has begun its slow descent, and with it comes the return of shadows. They stretch long across the clay tiles, curl behind woven baskets, and sneak under doorways like old cats finding their way home. You find a place on the edge of the courtyard, again cooler now, and settle into the kind of tired that only comes after being awake too long in ancient Egypt. It's that specific brand of fatigue, not exhaustion, but a dreamy looseness in your limbs, like you're already halfway to dreaming. Your body remembers what it's meant to do. Rest, but before the night truly falls, there's a ritual to perform. You rise slowly and follow the others, neighbors, family, strangers who've become familiar through shared yawns and sleep silences. They carry jars, cloths, and herbs. You carry nothing, just curiosity. The group moves toward a small structure near the edge of the complex, a household shrine, not massive, not ornate, just a low stone platform beneath a painted awning, a tiny clay figure of base watches from its corner with its lion dwarf face, part guardian, part cosmic babysitter. You meet its bug-eyed stare and feel oddly reassured. Tonight is a special night. It's the Festival of Sleep, not the official name, but it might as well be. This is one of those lesser-known domestic rituals, held in some communities to honor dream spirits and ward off night terrors. Not nightmares, those were just bad dreams. Night terrors was something else, something with teeth. People believed that certain entities, shadow spirits, unquiet dead, or even misfiring gods could slip into your dreams if you weren't protected. So this ritual, insurance. You kneel beside a young woman who sprinkles dried herbs, juniper, myrrh, and crushed lotus onto a clay plate. She lights them with a coal taken from a nearby cooking fire. Smoke rises in delicate spirals, and the scent is deeply familiar now. It smells like dreams. Then comes the chanting. Low, rhythmic, like a lullaby sung by the earth itself. People aren't loud. They're soft, almost whispering. Some close their eyes. One man rocks slightly, humming beneath his breath. You don't know the words, but you feel them. They're about guidance, protection, the hope that your soul bird will find its way safely back to your body by morning. Historians still debate whether these kinds of household sleep rituals were widespread or isolated, but the archaeological hints are there: figurines, headrests engraved with protective spells, soot marks on small altars near beds. The evidence whispers what the scrolls don't shout. The night was never faced lightly. As the smoke thins and the chants fade, people begin to trickle back to their sleeping places. You linger a moment longer beside Base, nodding in thanks. He doesn't blink, he never does, but you feel his approval anyway. Back in the courtyard, your mat is still there, freshly smoothed. A small flower has been placed on the corner. Blue lotus, again, a symbol of rebirth, often depicted rising from the mouths of the dead. A plant that closed at night and bloomed with the sun. You lie down and let the sky settle over you like a second blanket. The stars are returning, but this time you notice something new there. Moving. Not just drifting through their usual celestial dance, but tracking. Ancient Egyptian ceilings, especially in tombs, were sometimes painted with stars, not as decoration, as maps, guides for your soul. Each star a checkpoint, a cosmic breadcrumb. You try to trace a path from one to the next. Could your bar follow this road? Could it fly safely? You close your eyes and picture a pure little soul bird with your tired face, flapping awkwardly across constellations, dodging other spirits like traffic cones. You chuckle softly into your linen wrap, then breathe in and out. The fig tree rustles once more. A nightjar sings from somewhere in the darkness. The distant sound of a flute returns, soft, soothing, eternal. Your body softens. Not into unconsciousness, but into belief. Not religion, necessarily, but trust. Trust that the stars will shine, that the smoke will guide, that the gods, tiny and lion-faced or mighty and falcon-eyed, will watch you sleep. And in that quiet, just before the last thought slips away, you wonder, what will tonight's dream be? A river of honey, a staircase to the moon, a familiar face waiting by the Nile. Whatever it is, you're ready. You're drifting again. Not into sleep, not yet. This is the quiet space before sleep, the little window where your limbs go heavy, but your thoughts start getting weird. Like how you suddenly wonder, did ancient Egyptians ever argue about bedtime? You picture a tired mother trying to convince a 5-year-old to lie still on a mat while the stars rise. Or maybe a teenager sneaking out across the rooftops to avoid some ceremonial foot washing. Even in a land filled with gods and gold, surely someone, somewhere, begged, 5 more minutes, just let me finish watching the stars. The truth is, for the ancient Egyptians, bedtime wasn't just about rest, it was a practice, a rhythm. It belonged to the architecture of life, like mealtimes or offerings, or taxes, which were way more annoying than bedtime. You open your eyes, the sky's deepening into that rich honey-colored hue. It gets just before dusk, not night yet, but getting there. The fig tree rustles softly above, as if whispering, get ready. You lie still, and feel the day fading in slow motion. People around you are beginning to prepare. Mats are shaken out, fresh linens unrolled. Someone hums a tune while rinsing their hands in a ceramic bowl. The same melody you heard last night. Maybe a lullaby, maybe a prayer, or both. You sit up slightly and catch sight of something being set on a ledge, a sleeping cone. It's not large, about the size of a small fruit, pale and waxy, shaped like an upside-down teardrop. These were scented wax cones, worn on the head during feasts and rituals. And sometimes during sleep. Well, not for everyone. This was high-class comfort. A mixture of fat and perfume that would melt slowly over time, releasing scent blue lotus, frankincense, maybe cinnamon into your hair and the air. It wasn't just about smelling good. It was ritual, identity, even protection. You imagine falling asleep with a wax candle slowly puddling into your scalp and think, hard pass. But still, you admire the commitment, smelling like the gods. Worth it. You lean back again. Your mat creaks agreeably. Nearby, someone places a small offering beside their bed, a bit of bread, a smear of honey, and a flower. It's for the household spirits, or the ancestors, or maybe just for peace of mind. In this culture, the boundary between living and dead, between dream and waking, was porous, thin as linen. You glance around. Everything is quieter now. The city is slowing down. No carts, no shouting, just the soft tap of someone sweeping, and the distant call of a flute drifting down an alley like perfume on the wind. You close your eyes, and this time, it takes only seconds. Sleep pulls you under like the Nile pulls silt, softly, steadily, no resistance. And in the dream that forms, you are walking again, but not in the desert. You're in a long hall lined with massive columns. The walls shimmer with gold paint. Symbols crawl along the edges, hieroglyphs alive and moving like lazy insects. You walk barefoot. Your linen robe whispers against your legs. Ahead of you is a figure with the head of a falcon, Horus, maybe, or Ra, the sun itself. He turns, and instead of speaking, he gestures. You follow. He leads you through a doorway into a chamber full of beds, not like a dormitory. These are elegant elevated beds, each one carefully attended by priests. People are lying in them, eyes closed, dreaming. Is this the temple of sleep? You ask, not with your voice, but with your mind. The god doesn't answer, just points to one of the beds. Yours. You lie down, and as you do, your body becomes lighter, almost transparent. You are dreaming inside a dream, a nesting doll of consciousness, an ancient trick of the sleeping mind. And even here, within layers of illusion and incense, you notice the details. The creak of wood, the cool of linen, the smell of blue lotus, the sounds of breathing. Sleep, even here, follows the same rules. Because no matter how high you climb, whether to the gods, the tombs, or a palace tower, you still have to lie down eventually. Historians still debate whether Egyptians truly believed they visited the gods in dreams, or simply hoped to. But in moments like this, suspended in softness and myth, it hardly matters. You drift through another layer of sleep, lighter this time. Your breathing slows. And for a while, there's no Egypt, no gods, no scrolls or fig trees or dream books, just you, wrapped in time, gently turning beneath a sky full of watching stars. You don't remember falling asleep. One moment you are watching the stars realign above the courtyard. The next you're walking barefoot across smooth polished stone that glows faintly in the dark. No shadows, no ceiling, no sound, but your footsteps echoing off invisible walls. You're in a temple, but not a temple. It feels like memory, like dreaming inside someone else's dream. And ahead, just beyond the next colonnade, there's light, warm and flickering. You follow it. There's a chamber, round and low, walls painted with swirling colors, dark blue, rust red, gold leaf that dances in the firelight. And there, reclining on a divan that looks suspiciously like your courtyard mat in disguise, is a scribe, not a god, not a priest, just a man with ink-stained fingers and a grin like he's been waiting all night for you to show up. Sleep well, he asks. You nod, and he gestures for you to sit. On the low table before you are scrolls, dozens, hundreds maybe, every one labeled with a tiny symbol, a cat, a jug, a moon, a beetle. These, he says, are dreams, all of them yours. Someone else's. Doesn't matter. He unrolls one, and images shimmer into life. A young girl chasing a falcon through reeds. Another, a man flying over a black river. Another, a crocodile weeping golden tears beneath a sky shaped like a woman. You watch in awe. Dreams are not just messages. He says they're maps, clues, echoes. In the real world, Egyptian scribes were more than record keepers. They were interpreters, guides between the seen and unseen. They wrote spells, transcribed rituals, and often were the ones who recorded dreams brought by priests or by pilgrims who had slept in sacred temple chambers. You glance down at a scroll that unrolls itself before you. You see yourself sleeping under the fig tree, then walking among stars, then sitting, right here. You look up sharply. The scribe is gone. And suddenly you're back in your courtyard, still curled on your mat. The linen edges bunched under your chin. But something is different. because now you remember that your dream had layers, and one of them told you something real, that dreams weren't just stories. They were how Egyptians processed the deepest truths of their lives: death, desire, danger, hope. Some dreams were warnings, some were prophecies, some were just leftover bits of stew and honey, beer and heatstroke, but all were honored. Egyptians even had dream dictionaries, catalogs of symbols and meanings. If you dreamed of drowning, good fortune. If you saw a snake, danger, or sometimes just change. It depended on the context, which honestly still checks out today. Historians still debate how seriously these dictionaries were taken. Some say they were more ceremonial than practical, but to the dreamer, they meant structure, order, a little control in the chaotic theater of the sleeping mind. You sit up slowly and stretch your arms above your head. The night is quiet. Your fellow sleepers are still deep in their own dreams, some softly murmuring, one snoring like a distant war drum. You glance at the sky again. The stars have shifted, but you're not surprised anymore. They do this every night, don't they? Guide you, count for you, wait for you. You rest your chin on your knees and think about the strange peace you've found here. No curtains, no springs, no apps tracking REM cycles. Just you, the mat, the moon, and a culture that made sleep sacred. It wasn't just downtime. It was alignment with the gods, the seasons, the dead, and the soul. The way a priest might speak to a god through incense. You're here in this courtyard are speaking through silence. There's no need to interpret it tonight. You're not a scribe or just a traveler, a dreamer, a very sleepy human wrapped in ancient linen, and it is enough. You lie back down, press your cheek to the woven mat, and exhale one long slow breath, because this sleep, this one belongs to you.